Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show, where we help you make the wisest and most profitable decisions. And today we'll talk about generative AI, and more broadly, the revolution in AI, which is actually helpful for remote and hybrid work. Let's talk about that. Major companies are increasingly mandating office presence of 3 days a week. But there are employees who are increasingly questioning the need for office attendance, not only due to the experience of the pandemic, but also due to new technologies enabling them to work more effectively when they work remotely. They insist they're doing their jobs well remotely, and there's data showing that there's increased productivity when they work remotely. But leaders worry that remote work undermines communication, collaboration, and poses cybersecurity risks. So let's talk about how generative AI is actually addressing some of these concerns. And I see this in my clients. Having helped 26 companies figure out their hybrid and remote work policies, I see them using generative AI more and more to facilitate hybrid and remote work. So ChatGPT and other generative AI, Gemini, Ultra, and so on, they're enhancing remote and hybrid work by reducing the need for frequent office visits. They facilitate better information sharing. They improve productivity and efficiency. They improve the meetings of people who are remote, whether it's a remote meeting or a hybrid meeting. They support knowledge management and development of professional skills, and they ensure security and privacy. Finally, they improve the well-being of remote and hybrid workers. Let's talk about each of these in turn. So, efficiency. AI-driven applications reduce the need for frequent office visits by addressing the kind of concerns that leaders have about communication, coordination. They facilitate very quick access to relevant data and documents that previously you would have had to be in the office to get access to. They streamline communication channels to facilitate effective collaboration, and they provide intelligent recommendations that, again, previously would have been more helpful to be in the office for meetings, resources, priorities, and so on. And let's talk about information sharing next. It streamlines quick resource discovery for remote workers. So generative AI helps remote workers discover a variety of resources that previously it would have been better for them to be in the office to do, and reduces the time that they spend on searching for documents, waiting for colleagues to respond to their questions. So it empowers workers to work more independently from each other. So they don't have to work in the office where they depend on each other more to get information, but they still stay connected to colleagues and to the organization as a whole. Let's talk about productivity. So AI is a great productivity powerhouse that matches skills and interests for optimal teams and optimal tasks. It also helps peer-to-peer learning and mentoring. It frees workers from repetitive tasks and enables them to focus on more high-value activities that humans can do. So because it automates tasks that humans are not as good at, or that humans don't need to do, these repetitive tasks that are lower value activities. And it provides recommendations for improvement of worker activities that are tailored to their needs. And finally, it reduces burnout by prioritizing worker tasks. Okay, what about remote meeting experiences? It's very helpful for video conference experiences, whether it's remote or hybrid. It can adjust lighting, background, and appearance for better video conferences, helping you look professional, helping you look consistent. So that's always good. And it boosts efficiency because you have real-time transcriptions, translations, and captioning. So that's very helpful for meetings. Going on to skill development, it enables professional development through personalized learning and training. And through understanding queries, providing customized answers, you can just ask it questions, get answers, very helpful. And it identifies experts for individual needs. So you can figure out who is going to be an expert in your company through using generative AI as a tool. So it helps you get knowledge, discover knowledge, absorb knowledge, and shares best practices and gives you feedback on how you perform. What about security and privacy? Well, it can detect and prevent cyber attacks. Generative AI is very good for that. It can monitor networks for unauthorized access, including remotely, when you're working remotely. It prevents and neutralizes threats preemptively, which is good. It encrypts data, enforces policies. That's quite helpful for humans who are not always following policies. And it's especially valuable, I find, among my clients in data-intensive industries like finance and healthcare. What about well-being? So AI can do a lot to improve the well-being of remote workers by monitoring their health indicators, mental and physical health, providing feedback and reminders to take physical and mental breaks to address various challenges. It predicts mental health issues, which is always helpful because it can analyze data from wearables, health monitoring devices to monitor the physical and mental health status and well-being, such as exercise, diet, sleep, break reminders, stress relief tips. So it's quite helpful. And AI can serve thus as a proactive tool for mental health support in remote work by detecting behavior patterns that may indicate burnout or mental health issues, notify staff and managers about potential problems, and enable proactive interventions and support in advance. So when managers wouldn't necessarily notice it, when staff wouldn't necessarily notice it. Now, you really want to make sure to address legal liability in AI-driven decision-making. So questions arise about who's accountable when AI makes errors or causes harm. So there's a real need for robust governance frameworks within companies for responsible AI decision-making and, of course, outside of companies as well. So it would be helpful to have clear guidelines and regulations to determine the extent of legal liability at the government level, for insurance to also provide this. But companies individually need to, of course, have this as well. Now, you've probably heard about bias in AI algorithms because it may inherit biases from training data that can lead to unfair treatment of people, groups that may cause legal liabilities and ethical ones. So strategies to mitigate this concern is prioritizing transparency, fairness, and accountability, conduct regular audits for potential bias, use diverse training data sets and address potential bias in them, and involve stakeholders of various forms and sorts who may help you address bias in developing and employing and deploying AI systems. What about privacy and data protection? So take steps to make sure that you are ethical and appropriate in addressing concerns about privacy and data protection. Obtain consent, explicit consent from your remote employees for data collection and processing, and use robust encryption controls for this purpose. There's going to be a lot of data protection laws, GDPR regulations. For example, GDPR in the EU and California has a number of data protection laws. Make sure you're complying with those and implement strong organizational privacy concerns. More broadly, you really want to be aware of humanity's broader interests because there is a serious concern about more competent, as progress goes on, more competent generative AI may cause humanity to lose control over its future. So there's going to be job displacement concerns, so you want to make sure to invest in reskilling and upskilling employees. That's already a very big concern right now to help workers adapt as roles evolve. But there's risks associated with that uncontrolled AI. So some experts are urging a 6-month pause on AI training. Others propose even completely halting further AI research. You really want to make sure that your company is keeping track of what's going on to ensure that AI is aligned with human values. The AI you use, and just more broadly lobbying, advocating for AI to be aligned with human values. So let's review the benefits of generative AI for remote and hybrid work. It provides effective information sharing, enhanced communication and collaboration, improved productivity and efficiency, and support for knowledge management and skill development. It helps ensure security and privacy, resulting in less reliance on costly physical offices. And to fully embrace AI, make sure that you manage risks and address legal liability. All right, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you checked out the show and leave a review. It helps others discover the show and helps us improve the show.